We're returning now to live breaking news coverage of the train crash in Valhalla, New York. That's about 1 hour north of New York City. It is on the Metro North commuter rail line, the second busiest commuter rail line in the United States. 6 passengers on that train tonight are now dead. The train crashed into a Jeep Cherokee, which seemed to be stuck on the tracks at a crossing. We are joined now from that site by WNBC reporter Gus Rosendale. Gus, there's some confusion after the governor said that there were 6 passengers that were dead, and then he also said the driver is also dead. Is it clear to us whether this is now a total of 6 or a total of 7?
Yeah, Lawrence, the number has fluctuated throughout the evening. The latest from the governor is that the total number is 7. That was from a briefing from just about a last half hour ago. I might just have to move over here because we have a truck coming through. Excuse me. The governor pressed upon us that this was still very early on in the investigation here, but he did say the number of lives lost here, 7. The injury number, about 12 here. The latest on what we do know, around 6:30 here at a crossing in Valhalla, just north of the city, Metro North train heading north after making one stop, collided with that Jeep Cherokee. For some reason, it's unclear why, the Cherokee was on the tracks. We don't know if it was stuck there or stalled there, why it was there. Our local news chopper showed that the gates were down. The gates did appear to be working. The female driver of that vehicle, the MTA, the agency that runs the railroad here, says that she was out of her vehicle when she was hit and struck instantly. 6 other people were killed. We learned a little bit more about exactly the chaos of what happened immediately after. When the train hit that Jeep, it then also hit the third rail as well. The third rail, which powers that train, went right through the train car. The governor here is saying, despite the tragic loss of life, it is truly amazing that more people were not killed in all of this. And you also have to bear in mind this was a packed commuter train, hundreds of people on board. The MTA says roughly on an average day, 650 people or so would be on board, and most of them were able to exit the train safely and without too much chaos.
Gus, the National Transportation Safety Board is there. We will be learning more about these details certainly tomorrow, and then the investigation will be ongoing to find out exactly how this impact occurred. The governor said that the maximum speed in that for the train in that area was 60 miles an hour. And what you're seeing there, what would have prevented the train from, if you can tell us, seeing that Jeep Cherokee from a distance where it had enough time to close down the brakes from 60 miles an hour?
Well, when you talked earlier in the evening about visibility, and I've been going through some of the maps here, and it does appear that right before this collision, there is a bit of a bend. This was not a straightaway, if you will. So if the train was going 60 miles per hour and came around that bend, and then all of a sudden the vehicle stopped in the tracks there at a rate of 60 miles per hour, if in fact that was the speed it was going or something like that, the engineer would have had only a minute or so to apply the brakes, and a train like this would not have stopped on a dime, obviously. And we do know that after the impact, the train did keep moving, and that Jeep was essentially dragged about 40 feet, even more, underneath the train, and that's what caused the explosion and the fire that you eventually saw. So obviously the engineer did not have a lot of time for whatever reason and could not stop in time after seeing that truck.
And this is not the first problem they've had on that route north of New York. Gus Rosendale, WNBC, thank you very much for joining us tonight, Gus, on that breaking news story. Our coverage of these stories will continue after this break.